The year 2023 marked a particularly violent chapter in the Israel-Hamas conflict. In October of that year, Hamas unleashed an onslaught of violence that left 1,300 Israeli soldiers and civilians dead, while countless women were subjected to heinous acts of sexual violence. An additional 1,500 Israelis, women and children included, were taken hostage to Gaza. Amidst the chaos and violence, many began to question the moral justification for Israel's response. To answer this, we must first explore the principles of international law. One of its pillars is the right to self-defense. As stated in the United Nations Charter, nations have the right to defend themselves against armed attacks. In the face of the unprovoked aggression by Hamas, Israel's response can be seen as an exercise of this very right, as it sought to protect its citizens from further harm. In times of conflict, the use of force must be both necessary and proportionate. It's important to examine Israel's actions against Hamas through this lens. The initial assault by Hamas justified Israel's response. Moreover, Israel has endeavored to minimize civilian casualties by focusing its counterattacks on military infrastructure and Hamas operatives. While the risk of collateral damage in war is inevitable, Israel's actions have been proportionate and necessary given the scale of Hamas's aggression. A primary goal of Israel's response has been the protection of its civilians. By neutralizing Hamas's military infrastructure and operatives, Israel has sought to prevent further rocket attacks and other forms of violence against its citizens. This is a legitimate and morally justified aim, as states bear the responsibility to protect their citizens from harm. Hamas's actions in October 2023 flagrantly violate international law and human rights, leading many countries to label Hamas as a terrorist organization. In light of these events, Israel's actions, including the use of force, have been justified on the grounds of self-defense, proportionality, and the protection of civilians. As long as Israel continues to act in accordance with international law and seeks to minimize civilian casualties, its response to Hamas's aggression can be seen as morally justified. The Israel-Hamas conflict is a complex and multifaceted issue, with numerous aspects to consider. The brutal actions of Hamas in October 2023 have been met with a robust response from Israel, which has sought to protect its citizens and uphold its rights under international law. The justification of Israel's actions hinges on the principles of self-defense, proportionality, and the protection of civilians. As this conflict continues to evolve, it's crucial to keep these principles in mind when assessing the actions of all involved parties.